Yeah, drawing back a little bit to the monetary thing. I, I've heard for, I don't know, the past few years now, a lot of talk about um just big grandiose things about how we're gonna bring more money and sponsors into the sport and everything. And lately I've been of the mindset that it's time we just start a little bit locally. What baffles me is how many clubs we have here in California. I mean, we've got so many teams in this state, and we're very spoiled with the amount of tournaments and everything like that. What I have noticed is there's just not a lot of organization between all of them, like as a state, you know. I don't think we need to look at it in a very large, grandiose way. I think we need to start locally right here.
Well, you're
Um,
kind of doing that with the Armfest, aren't you? With on the Southern California end.
well, now it brings people together for practices. Absolutely. There's a lot of things like that are making small steps towards it. I'm definitely throwing around the idea with some people in the local community in terms of potentially getting a committee going. There's nothing too formal, but we need to kind of get our heads together to, I think, organize as a state. Um, and that would be down to events that we're throwing, and ways that we can optimize everything and really organize. I think that's one of the biggest things that is detouring sponsors, and has always been the problem for keeping us from getting the Olympics and everything, is just this kind of segregation and disorganization. You know, we've
Well,
got these small little factions of organizations and tournaments happening and everything like that. And and to really fully combat that, that's a lot to chew. It's a
when
lot to change, but we've got our state here with a lot going on, and I feel like we can start here, come together, get some of the heads of the state, you know, some of the key people, and see.
someone brought it up before about looking more for sponsors for a per team, because uh, even when you look at, like, let's say it's even whether any kind of company or restaurant or anything that sponsors people, it's always team pictures up there. It's always teams that they're sponsoring. There's no individuals up there. Everything seems to be team sponsor,
Right.
and then they end up getting, they're on the shirt. You got team shirts and all that kind of stuff too going on, but I think that would probably fly better too when it comes to, you might actually get a team sponsored more so than uh, individual.
Oh, yeah.
100%, 100% agree. That's one of the big things that Kane and I have been talking about since like North versus South and stuff, is that um, the more that teams show up with their logos and their matching shirts or whatever it is, it looks professional. The aesthetic from the outside looking in, it doesn't look like that bar sport anymore that everybody thinks it is. And you're right. I mean, any business is going to want to sponsor, a dozen athletes as a team, as a whole, than an individual. Until you're on that Devin Larratt or Michael Jordan level, right?
Right.
Then you're, obviously individual. That's a thing. But yeah, just the team aspect, I totally agree with that. I think that would blow up things as far as the availability for us to have different sponsorships and different venues that open up, like how Scott was talking about that, he thinks that we should always be in like a huge hotel with a conference center. And it's, again, that's the aesthetic, that's the eye appeal of it. It looks more professional. The team thing is just pointing it all towards that way. And I think that actually, I know for a fact that like four or five teams have started since Kane and I have started doing these podcasts in California, and showcasing different things, and people there's been 4 or 5 new teams that popped up, groups from different areas, the Visalia team and different, places that made a little team. And it's like, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
We're all motivating each other to do that,
That
And
is,
you have,
that is,
and you have competitions.
yeah.
And each team can also have a youth division, our boys versus your boys, including your son, Josh, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, 15 to 18. We can taper it down to weight classes, kinda, but keep it more within age groups and start with the youth and go on to the adults. And out of every team, there will be 1 or 2 that rise to the top, and they'll grab them a little more attention. And that's how you grow the sport. It's exciting,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
If you're on 5th and 6th graders, it might be better to use a girl. They're probably bigger at that age, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get the daughter out there, the granddaughter.
I feel like we are there now. We've got a lot of teams organizing. Obviously, Alpha Empire's been, killing it for a while in terms of organization and everything like that. Compound is doing an amazing job. Josh, you're killing it up there with Nowhere to Run. All these teams, you're right, they are coming up, and they're definitely more sponsorable than a single individual. We're doing that right now. And where I'm thinking forward is, the same concept, but as a state. We're California Armwrestling here.
Right.
And I feel like if we take all these teams that are organizing and find a way to optimize, not have tournaments step on other tournaments, and find ways to help each other. Like who you got Ed out there killing it with photography. He should be involved. If there was some kind of committee or something, he should be involved, because he could be the go-to guy for photography with all these events. Who's our producer? Who's the guy that's going to help promote all these events that are not getting promoted? They're just not. We can schedule better, and we can optimize all these events much, much better, to create the idea of one big team of California. We'll have our little teams in here, but when we create more of that organized sense, I feel like for our state, that's when I feel like actual events that we're having can get sponsored, not just a team. And when we can get, a full event to have sponsors back behind it with good money behind it, that's when we can potentially hope for there to not only be really good payouts, but maybe even for the pro level, to really finally call it pro, not just open, not be paying to enter or go through some sort of process to be able to even, compete. I don't know, that would be, something that would have to be worked out. But once that organization falls in place with California, man, that's just going to trickle down with every state until we're looking at national organization. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. The rankings would look better nationwide. It would definitely be something for money to get behind. You know what I mean?
Well, things are definitely different, because I used to only go to Mike's Garage, period. Armbender Garage, California Armbenders. That's all I ever visited. I never went elsewhere. Here lately, I've gone out to the Bay Area. I've gone out quite a few times now to Nowhere to Run out at Josh's. And I keep telling Josh I'm going to have a Nowhere to Run shirt with Armbender on it.
Yeah.
It's just I'm going all over the place, and I'm enjoying that too, because of the different faces, different arms, different hands, and just different people to pull. And it's fun to hook up with someone like Casey, because he's got a huge mitt, and it's hard to grab him. So It's like when I grab him, it's like, I'm not trying to take your hand now. I'm just trying to take your thumb because that's all I got.
Yeah, that makes me think of when we had Martin Kemp on recently. He had some really great points when we were talking about growing the sport, about how he really appreciates this, grassroots level of where it's at. I
Right.
think his points were partly that he doesn't think it's gonna grow in a certain, direction that we're talking about, but he also talked about that he has no interest in it doing that, that it would be that it's great where it's at. And I agree with that. The only area that I think is I don't want to say opposing the theory. I'd like to say more just adding an extra outlook to that is that this is not going anywhere. We can build this sport up bigger and bigger and organize it better and create more opportunities for this sport,
Right.
and for more people to get in it. And we are always going to have that opportunity to go to Mike McGraw's and pull.
Right.
We're always going to have that opportunity to go to a garage somewhere and pull with our friends. It's the same thing as any top level sport, baseball and football. They're American pastimes. You can go out there with your dad and play catch. You can go and do some
Right.
pick up ball, in Venice or something like that. That's not going to change. So I'm definitely an advocate. Let's keep going. Let's keep building it. Let's keep organizing this.
The only thing that kind of like I agree with Martin about the fact that it's awesome how it is. I think we've said this before. I would worry about if it ever does get to, let's say, like an NFL or MLB level or something similar. You would worry about then the big paydays and the douchebag attitudes, right? Which is what we don't have right now. I mean, it's so few and far between, and they weed themselves out anyway. It would almost feel like we would be jeopardizing the humbleness and the thing that makes this sport so special, if it did blow up and become so mainstream, right? Because then you'd have anybody. Now it's millions of people. It's watered down, like, basically, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good perspective. What do you think, Todd?
I kind of fall in the middle of everyone. So I'm okay where it's at, but I think you know how I am, man. It's all I'm pushing for Elijah, and Elijah will be a man at one time. I mean, at a particular point in his life, right? 5, 5, 6 years. I just think that the grassroots at the youth level is where it needs to be. Parents rally around their children, that grows popularity, and then all of a sudden people have vision. Vision is the key for anything, business, sports, whatever you're doing. You first have to have the vision, and then you have to have the starting point. Well, we don't need a starting point. This sport's awesome already, but I think that once we get these youth to be recognized where they're at, and we can see them grow and be a focal point in their category, I think that will cause a growth just by itself. That's how you get it in the schools. That's how it grows. That's how it becomes an Olympic sport. And then there's no stopping it. I look at all these youth tournaments in Canada, competitions in the South, in Europe. I mean, these amateurs and these youth are so awesome. They are awesome. And I enjoy watching it. Why we don't do something to develop what we have even in our state? Like, what, look, it's not rocket science. It's already being done. It's just scattered.
It's
Right.
probably growing because they are doing it.
That's what I'm saying. We only have to copy the model and then throw our little salt and pepper to our culture here, because the culture is different and we get it. We need to throw some bells and whistles on it and the little explosions and whatever. But we've got talent here. We've got, this is the United States of America. We're rich. We've got the facilities, we've got the gyms, we've got everything. So, it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice. Easy for me to say. I have a son, so I'm pushing for him. But that will give attention to the adult version as well. It will.
Right.
The pros, you know, they have the attention on them, but not from the United States, not in the West. Because we're so rich here. We have so many other options that arm wrestling is at the bottom, at the barrel. Where you see this sport huge is where there's not as many options. See what I'm saying? But we've got so many cool sports, and I'm not going to say, oh yeah, our goal is to be bigger than baseball or football or basketball. I mean, that's not reasonable. But we can have a piece of the pie. It's just going to take a little bit of, like you said, structure.
I don't know.
We
I was a little.
Hey, hey,
I was a little hurt
I,
that we didn't make it in the Olympics and ribbon twirling did.
That's
listen,
what I'm saying.
listen.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
doubt that it would be bigger than football or baseball ever, right? At any point, or things like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
But that's because I feel like, I mean, our culture here in America is based off of entertainment, right? That's like literally. Exactly. So you're right, and because this is a sport that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years before a lot of sports in those other countries where, say, are not so entertainment based, yeah, it's more prevalent. But yeah, I do think that it could easily be or should be equal to some of these sports because of how long it's been around, and literally when you look at the Olympiad and why the Olympics were created to help stop war, that's what arm wrestling does. It's a way of combat without violence, right? Without too much violence, or whatever we want to call it. But yeah, look, I mean, I think it could be up there.
Every other day, I said this, I think, on the last show I was on. I hit Dana White up on his chat on his Facebook. Now I know it's not him; he doesn't have time to run his Facebook, right? It's a hired hand. But every time when he posts something, I like it, I comment on it, and then I bring up arm wrestling. I like it, I comment on it, and then I bring up arm. Dana, look at arm wrestling. Contact Devin. Contact these guys. I know you know who they are. Contact them. We can use your whatever, however I word it. But I just infiltrate it. You know what I mean? And I'm constantly on there, just constantly trying to get it. I know I'm being ignored, but I don't care.
Hey, they're looking at us, man. They're looking at us, bro. Like Dana, he said it. I watch his podcast all the time when he's on different, stuff, because he's a super intelligent dude and has like a real good business mind. He says himself that he literally surfs and checks out all the stuff that nobody would, think of on the internet just to see where talent is and stuff like that. The guy that I met with 2 weeks ago, man, down in Newport, that guy, AJ Zabaki, and he's connected directly with them Furtada brothers, and he works with Habib. Like he runs the league that Habib runs right now, and he's all interested in arm wrestling. So
see, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And listen, like he's doing this slap fight thing, right? And whatever, I like combat sports. I don't like it when you can't defend yourself. That bothers me. And I'm not saying it's wrong, okay? You know what I mean? But if he feels like there's a possible profit in that venture, and they were talking about how's it doing? Oh, it's really big in India. That tells me it's not doing too good. Okay? It's doing good in one little segment of the whole entire planet, right? Arm wrestling is huge on the whole Eastern Bloc. So if he's looking at trying to make an explosion and make money, if he gets into the promotion, it's right there waiting for him. Okay? Just start over there. It doesn't have to start on the West. And then work it over here. It's there.
He said it. He said it himself. I was watching the interview just yesterday about that. He said that it was completely a marketing ploy, and that if you take the UFC and football and all the other sports combined, he said multiply it by 4, and that's the amount of views that slap fighting the memes get. And so he was saying that like it's a social media like extravaganza. Like every slap fight has a highlight reel that gets millions and millions of views.
Right.
Right. He said one lady
I got it. Yeah.
had like 6 subscribers, and then she posted one video the next day. She had like 1,200 subscribers or something, in one day. Yeah, just from posting slap fight video.
I see that angle.
It's on YouTube. He's not making money at the venues. No, he's making money on the YouTube and shit. Yeah,
I got you. That's smart. I see him being able to do with the right promotion the same thing with arm wrestling.
Oh yeah,
bigger, more recognizable stars. These guys are superhuman. I mean, goodness, I saw the promotion for the slap fighting and the trailers, and they're fantastic. And esports versus West is getting a lot better, but it's still, it's still falling short on a few things that I see. Engen's doing a great job. Support him 100%. But we need to get to another level, man. It's not big enough, honestly, in my opinion.
Hey, we don't need Dana, man. We don't need Dana.
Well,
we already have people. No, I know you're not saying that. I'm clearly saying that he started out just like we are right now when he got into the mixed martial arts, and nobody believed in his crap, and forever they were trying to get it off of TV because it was boring and long matches, and he figured out a way after the years to make it exciting and bring in the attitude and all the different stuff. So I mean, just like we're doing now, which I don't think that arm wrestling really ever had because of the absence of social media. So now that we have that platform, it's growing in a different way. It's growing in a different way than it was 30 years ago, right?
Yep. No, I agree.
I think they're all helpful, and a lot of the things that you guys are bringing up are super key. For me, it's a lot of what would assist those things. And I don't mean to be a broken record, but even when it comes to like the youth, right? I think getting the youth involved is, we've talked about it before. It's one of the hugest things that could impact this sport. But also, I feel like to make that happen, we need to have better broad spectrum organization. So when you mentioned like Canada, right? And Europe, these places that are doing that and doing it well, like I don't feel, maybe we could through some fluke circumstances. I just don't see us being able to replicate that in California right now under the current state. There's too much broken up teams and stuff where we're trying to see if we've got 2 or 3 kids on this team or 2 or 3 kids on this team where we could like make something happen. We need the organization, I feel like, to draw the youth in to actually see that there's something substantial to get involved with and follow. In Canada, they have way better organization. They just do.
I'd like to see
nationals, everything. It's very unified. It's very organized. They have a committee. They have all that. And so that's, to me, the biggest reason why it makes all that possible. Same thing in Europe. They've like it's super organized with how they have things out there. And so all these extra things, like even down to Dana White looking at our sport, from afar, like for him to maybe make that extra step, I think he would need to see something that is more organized in a broad spectrum, not just down to the team level. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Do you feel that super matches and tournaments should still stay incorporated with each other?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that the biggest place for tournaments is for an organized setting, is for rankings. That is, it's the best way to take a pool of athletes and whittle them down to who's the
I wish I could see more classes full, like 20 plus people would be really nice.
That's going to be organization as well. You know, the super matches are the entertainment factor. You know, that's they're so much more entertaining, especially for our sport. You know, the tournaments they're just not going to draw spectatorship. They would draw better spectatorship if we were more organized. You know, if it wasn't like in our own in one state alone having different organizations and tournaments and stuff like that. It's something that would require, I think, craftiness, you know, because
I think that was the issue that they didn't want to accept it into the Olympics, was there's too many organizations, too many champions, too many all over the place.
Exactly. And there is beauty to having these small tournaments. Like I'd hate to see like Dave Depew have to run his tournament a certain way or something because now he's under some, you know, arm wrestling governmental, you know.
But you know what? Isn't that a cop out though? I mean, isn't boxing that way?
Sort of. I mean, yeah, it could be like to me, like he could still run his organization, or his promotions, but you know, somehow there can be affiliation towards, you know, it could be more of a qualifier to, you know, go to the one nationals, that all these events are contributing almost like a franchise.
I think that just hearing you guys talk, I think that I like the idea a lot, and I think that's the key there, right? You have all these events and different promotions, and they all do well, and you don't want to obviously take away that autonomy. So you have to think along the lines of what is it exactly that we can do with this organized body to entice them to want to be affiliated. Like, what is it that we can provide? I think you think along those lines, and you start to get more towards what a clearer vision might look like, right? If I'm running an event and I'm approached by whoever to be affiliated with this, then everyone wants people at their event, right? So somehow, if I don't know, there's a way that you guarantee that, hey, we can have 30 participants or this many participants, right? Also, we can also work with like local, you know, a local hotel or something to lodge them or so. All this stuff requires money, obviously, but those are just some of the thoughts in my head, right? What is it that you could say to entice different promoters to get them to go on board? Because once you have that, then I think all the dots start to connect and people start to see, oh, yeah, Dave Depew's tournament is different from the UAL's, but they're both kind of, somehow affiliated with this body, and no, I think it's a great idea. I think, yeah, I think.
Well, we
just thinking more about it.
The heirs thing is kind of grabbing from everybody right now for its ranking system too. So
it's
and he's starting to put some things together too with some tournaments now. So in a way, because of the heirs thing and the ranking system, it's kind of making people get connected now too, because everything's going to him as far as any rankings and all that. And now again, he's also going to start to promote some tournaments, and he's doing it kind of in a unique way by the points, that, in other words, not just the top guys. He was talking about doing somewhere they're like in the middle, because no matter where you take those people, if they've had a record in the sport, you could take all the lowest guys in the ranking and have them compete, and it'd probably be a very interesting matches because everybody would be equally matched. or similar match. So the competition would still be probably exciting, because no one's blowing away, or they're just everything's good battles. And I think that's probably, I think what the mindset is there, by what they're trying to see if it's going to be very entertaining.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
doing great
it's
things.
amazing.
It's what?
Oh, I was just saying that's amazing. Like adding, I'm always all for adding in everybody, part of the big show. And you're exactly right. Like it doesn't matter what echelon you pick. If they're close, it's going to be fun to watch on the. Well, I mean, we've seen that in
Right.
April. We've seen a ton of guys that were beginners
Right.
or newer, and they had wars because they were, both 5 months or 6 months in, or what it might be.
Right.
Well, I think a lot of them are going to be closer than
I feel like sometimes they're even fun.
Yeah, there's people that are on the very bottom of the ELO ratings, or whatever their rating system is, that would give a lot of people a good match at the top. And a big part of the reason is because a lot of those people at the bottom were not, a lot of the tournaments that they're doing have not been counted. And
Right.
that's part of the issue. So I think what Corey's doing is phenomenal. It's great. And it's going to, like, organically, probably over time, maybe just more of a lengthy amount of time, cause anybody that doesn't want to contribute to that rating system, any of the promoters and events and stuff like that, that don't want to contribute to that particular ranking system, they would probably end up slowly not benefiting from not doing that. They would
Right.
benefit
People
more
aren't
from
going to show because you're not
doing.
counting it.
Right now, they're not there yet. It's going to take time for them to kind of, in a sense, get bullied out to where, and how it's going to happen is it's going to be from potential competitors not wanting to go register and compete in their tournament because it's not an ELO or Aries certified event, or whatever but that's part of the reason, going back to what you're saying, Shaldish, 100% is, if we can come at it in a way that is creating incentives for these promoters and everything like that, to where not only, like, is it going to help you, like, maybe make you more money, and bring more registrations, having some form of affiliation to a broader organization, bringing you promotion, all kinds of things like that. I think it's more of an expedited way to, rankings, everything, to creating more of a broad spectrum organized system, and anybody, without making everybody conform, like, it would make a more expedited organic path to doing exactly like what would happen if we didn't do anything with considering Aries, just, which would be much slower. This way it would be like, okay, so if all these other organizations are getting incentives and everything like that to somehow be a part of this ranking system and organization and promotions and stuff like that, then it would be a much quicker path for the people that don't want to be a part of that, where they're probably not going to be very successful. But I don't know. I feel like it's kind of bullyish, but like it needs like a sensitive
Yeah,
touch. You know what I mean?
I think like you said, there's some of the path seems to be paved a little bit by whatever Canadian organizations or whichever ones already seem to be doing it well. There's a lot maybe to be learned from them. I don't know anybody on that side, but I'm sure, you contact them and you can kind of trace their way of doing things. And just another way of also, like, in tandem doing it, just the way I think is, you know, if if you do it by promoting your own, like imagine, you know we set up an event where it was promoted under the banner of this organized body, and everyone sees that event and just sees that it's the one to go to, it's the one that's run best, it's got the most people. Well, just sort of by affiliation, you already are getting the eyes of people, right? Um, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe the next North and South, we just gotta put up, millions of dollars uh up for everyone or something like that. I think it has to go along both lines, like um you have to try and reach out to others, but also have something that you're working on like centrally that can also attract them and show them that, hey, we actually are putting on a good show. And um yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking.
You gotta help with that now, because that's one of the things I was saying after the first one, is that I would love to have 30 matches at the next North versus South, and try to have $500 for the winner of each, right?
And a
So,
youth division.
well,
Our boys,
obviously, I mean,
our boys versus your boys. Hey,
I would love
all the
to.
wives will come out and the aunts and uncles. I'm telling you. It's a travel ball tournament. I'm telling you. You
Yeah.
got to have the youth division. I promise you. We've got guys
Hey,
at Alpha.
Todd,
We've got about 5 or 6 guys at Alpha. We got
Todd,
Matthew. We got me. I'm Elijah. We got
you
Jaden.
guys
We
have them
got
all. You have them all down there. I'm not even joking. Like,
but
me
that's
and Shane
so
have been
what?
talking about. We've been talking about youth for the last year, and there's only my son up here. Like, that's it. Like,
That's cool, but that's cool. That's that it. We got them all down here. Nah, man. Look, you put the
no, there's
category in
more.
play.
There's obviously there's more. There's just none that are coming out of the woodwork. I mean, you can't.
Right.
I've met everybody that's everybody up here, and like, there's like a couple people that have kids that nobody brings them. I'm like one of the only people that brings their son to practice up here.
Right.
They're not raising their kids. They're not raising their kids right.
No, hey, hey, Travis was
Telling you
funny for
guys,
that one,
man,
man.
unite and organize this state. You'll have all those kids in the
Hey,
north come out of the
hey,
woodwork.
I hit up
I agree.
on Facebook. I hit up Hector Beltran. Okay,
Okay.
from Mexico. Remember when you guys went to Mexico? Some of the
Yeah.
guys from Alpha. So, and it was a great event, right? It was great. I watched it on YouTube. He's got a son out there, and there's a handful of kids out there. His son is 15, right? Looks strong as heck, right? Kind of a wiry kid, but I don't underestimate that. You can't tell by that. Looks strong, good form. He's arm wrestling some of the guys out there. The next time you go to Mexico, let me know, and we'll bring our 3 to 4 boys. They get their 3 to 4 boys, and you make a category. That's how it starts. It's fun. You create the categories, and people get a whiff of that, and then all of a sudden you'll see these kids like, hey man, I want to get part of that. Everybody sees it on YouTube. It looks fun. The kids are getting down. It's all good sportsmanship, but it's intense. Man, I'm telling you, man. You think everybody just watch Major League Baseball player? Every year in the summer when the Little League World Series happens, what happens? Everybody's watching because everybody loves the kids. You have to have categories like that. Even if it's one kid, you're doing this event against this other crew, and they got a kid that's 16, and we got a kid that's 14 or 15. Make a category. Let them go at it.
Well, Matt Silva says he's got your north kiddos. He says they've got a new boy, Jennifer's kid. You know who that is, Josh?
He's right.
Yeah.
And also he says he had like 3 juniors at their last mega practice.
Yeah, at the last practice, yeah, there were a couple
I am
young
telling
kids.
you, if you include them in these events that you guys do, more will come. I'm telling you.
I'm sorry, guys, right now. I was totally being biased. I'm forgetting that you guys have teenage boys. My son's 9, so there's no other 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
up here.
Hey,
There's plenty of teenagers. There's
I'll
plenty
pull
of
somebody.
teenagers.
I'll pull somebody from my family. We'll find them. We'll find them, and it doesn't have to be 9. It could be 9 to 11, right?
Really, we
You
just
know,
need to find a youngster down here for you, Josh. We need
that's
to
it.
find a Southern 9-year-old.
That's it.
The
That's
what?
that's the beauty of the North versus South. We've got all this time to like set up the matches and hype them up.
Right.
So we
Well,
set it
no,
up
we
in
got
advance, we
Todd
can lock it
as
in.
we got Todd that just got hired as the youth facilitator for
You
North
got it.
versus South. So
We'll
there
do
it
it.
is.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
My-
I'll
Let's
take care of
set
that.
that-
My grandson's thinking about trying it.
Get
Oh
them working out.
no, man. We can't have more little
More
Don
Mormons.
Mormons out there.
No more Mormons, huh?
You
Yeah.
got to give these kids a chance to grow, Don.
That's